but he's never back here. The dad is back here behind the popcorn. The kids are always out front of the table. We actually have a rule in our pack: you cannot bring a chair to a show and sell. You can't. We just don't let them sit. Don't let the kids sit or the parents sit.
Because if they see you, then they're going to want to do exactly what the parents are doing, sitting back. They'll fight for the chair with you or want to come behind there. So even for us parents sometimes, I want the parents sometimes to be almost towards the front too, so they don't have an excuse to go hide. Because I don't want our kids to go hide behind the table, because how are you going to talk to somebody? They're just walking by. Well, you have to get up there and like, hi, would you like to buy some popcorn? Would you like to, excuse me, would you like to support my Cub Scouting adventures? So you have to have them get out there and encourage them to interact with other people or walking by or just get out there, which is kind of harder to do the show and sells compared to door to door. I think my son prefers door to door, but you know, he gets out there and does show and sells too.
Being cute might get them to the table. Chances are the people that have walked to the table or walking by the store and they stop, I'd say they're a hot lead right off the bat. They already have made up their mind that they are interested in supporting scouting. That is an easy sale that any kid, whether they talk or not, can probably close. What the challenge becomes is the guy that's over there walking intentionally the other way to avoid you. Or, in my kid's situation, approaching people whose back are to you and getting them to engage. So letting the kids sell because they're cute, I don't want them to become just a glorified cashier that's just making change for a customer that's already decided to buy. I want my kids to understand how to approach people that may or may not have any interest in supporting them, but because of their pitch or because of their assertiveness or because of their courage, decided I'm going to support scouting. So keep your kids moving. Go to venues where there's not an easy flow of traffic. I get lots of people say, well, you go sell tailgates. Yes, I do. And I've had parents say, well, there's alcohol involved. Yep, and they are thirsty and hungry and they want sweet popcorn. I've even, mostly my kids do all the talking. Again, I posture myself behind the wagon. I have been known to be a smart aleck and say to the people standing in line at the bathroom, hey, do you guys realize that the salt content in popcorn actually increases your sodium, which decreases your ability to need to pee? So the more popcorn you eat, the less you'll have to pee. Here's the popcorn. They laugh at me, and then I take my biology degree and go elsewhere. But the idea, though, is what's really hard is when my son walks up to somebody and he's standing here and they are flat out ignoring him. It happens. So you know what? Go to the next one. And if you hear, and I'll throw some tips out there. If you go to a tailgate tent, there's never one person there, and one person doesn't speak for the whole group. So if the person on the outside says no, keep working through the room. I had my two, and this is a point of like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. And it doesn't happen all the time, so it's not the norm. There was a large tent, and it was downtown, and I said, Parker, Max, hop in. First person kind of said no, and they kind of, so next thing you know, they're gone. I didn't see them. They were gone. Max came running out to grab some popcorn and ran back in. And they came out, each of them had a $100 bill in their hand. The guy who owned the company that sponsored the tailgate was so impressed by their, whatever they did inside their tent, I didn't see it, that he gave them each a tip. I'm like they were so, I mean, they were, I'm like, put that in your pocket. You know, you don't want to. But it was about not stopping at that first no and pushing in and keeping going. And I'm not dragging them through it. I mean, I'm pulling the wagon. So I'm reluctant. Sometimes I get a little secretive a little bit because I don't want to flood my market with more people selling. I've had a kid that's from Dimondale that chased me here, that chases me around, or we chase him around depending on who hit the place first. Tell me, oh, I already hit that lot, don't waste your time. All right, we'll go hit the lot and sell $400. Sometimes it's, you know, it's just different, you know. But having that ready to go, and a couple of key things I put, something that I learned the hard way was letting the kids lead. And my wife has to remind me this all the time. I don't want to drag them around. I'll drag the wagon, but as soon as I start dragging him, then it's not fun, and they want to go. So for me, at Michigan State, for example. I went to State, so I know campus really well. We're stopping at the dairy store. We're going to stop at Fan Fest. We're going to do things that aren't selling popcorn because they need a break. And we also discovered a couple other things that they could sell for 6 hours straight if I do those breaks. And we just played around the tennis courts for half an hour. I mean, I needed to sit down, they needed to run around, and then we went back at it and hit the people up after the game too. So letting them kind of lead. Every negative experience I've had, and God, I've had a lot, I've kind of come back to the idea that it's me dragging them. And as soon as I kind of let go of that and realize that it's not about that, it's about them leading the way, that's helped a lot. App. Oh. Okay, you guys got time for the app? Have you guys all got the app?
Yeah.
Okay. Is your unit going to use it?
Do we have to? Because the way they said on the webinar, they're like, you have to put everything in here. Everything must be tracked.
At this point, it's not mandatory.
They were?
They did.
We're not using it. You can use this as a case study.
At the end of the year, at the end of the sale, everything is still going to have to be reported. Like scholarship is still going to be filled out on paper. The app, however, I think simplifies things. We used Square last year. Last year we passed a 3% charge onto our customers. No one cared because every gas station around town does it too. So we're like, there's a 3% swipe fee. Do you care? No, that's fine, swipe away. This year Trails End and the Crossroads Council is absorbing all those 3% fees, so that part's moot. The ease of the app, and I can't show you because of the internet here, but it is a menu. So each kid will need to have their own login. If you have more than one kid, there's a drop down at the top. Sign them in, and then you can toggle between them. It is literally all the products with a little quantity button, plus, 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 plus. Oops, okay, negative. You know, if you need to update that. Be careful with your fingers because there are some glitches that I don't want to elaborate on just because I don't want you to accidentally do it. Don't click on the prices. Let's put it that way. Okay? Don't click on the prices. Evidently, you can change. I'll tell you. Okay, that's on the back. You can change the prices on the products, and it screws up the back end. I suddenly had my son owing 2 bags of salted caramel, and the cash back to him was negative $10. I had to go and they had to wipe it out. So I tried to see how far I could go with it. And I put in a salted caramel for $5 and it worked. Shoot. So don't teach that to your kids. Just let that slide. Stick to the
where
side.
on here do you get that?
Are you on the leader or the kids?
This is the kid. This is my kid.
Oh, the bottom. Wagon. So at the bottom you'll have a ribbon. It'll say storefront, wagon, online. Click the wagon. Everything is basically, this all comes from Sean in California. Everything that you guys do as a take order is considered wagon sales. So whether you have a wagon or not, it's a wagon sale.
So do you have to have inventory in here before you can?
Yes and no.
Because like I couldn't add anything to.
No, you don't. So go down. Okay, all right. Okay, she clicked on wagon sale and it brought us up here. And it shows inventory and it's all grayed out. As a kernel, as I get my inventory in, I can assign it to the scout and then this will actually have numbers. But this isn't the sale page. You still have to click down here where it says start wagon sale. It's a little blue button at the bottom and that takes you to this screen that shows the quantity.
So the popcorn kernel actually can change the grayed out inventory.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
So you can sell as
But
much
they can sell
popcorn
without
as
it,
you
too.
want.
Yeah, they can sell without it, but like once we
Without
get,
it.
like we get a lot of popcorn, we drag it
So
around
then
and
you
sell
touch
it.
what they sold
I was
on
like,
here,
how do
you
we
plug in
change
the
it?
square reader and swipe
So
the
I
card
gotta just
and
go to
you're
the
done.
kernel.
And you're done.
Got it.
It will take you to a place where there's an address field. You can fill that in if you would like. And then there's one other caveat. It says delivered by default. If you don't physically give them the popcorn, change that feature from delivered to undelivered, so that way you know who you're going back to.
Just something that I thought I'd heard. I thought the app took care of, you didn't need a square anymore. Am I
You can
correct?
type in the numbers.
Okay.
You're right, yes. You do not need a swiper to use the app. The swiper does make it convenient, but you can key in the numbers. Now, I'm gonna Trails End app. Let's put this aside for just a second. Old Square app that some of us have used in the past, which is still functional. Square has their own thing. If you hand key a sale in Square, it's a higher percentage than if you swipe. Trails End is covering all fees, whether you swipe or hand key, zero for us.
What about chargebacks from cards
about
that
what?
don't? What about chargebacks?
Not just for us.
Okay, they are, Trails End is covering all liability on chargebacks.
Okay.
And I gotta tell you, arrogantly speaking,
amazing right
$80,000, I had no chargebacks. I've had more bounce checks than chargebacks. Because frankly, it's not gonna approve it.
Right.
Unless the customer physically says, they call their bank and say no.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that happen. But Trails End is absorbing that liability, and they are gonna hold, all right, here's one more caveat. They are holding our money, so to speak, for 48 hours. And it's not gonna go in your bank account. So old time Square or last year's Square, we hooked it up to our bank account, we sent the money that way. This time around it's going into Trails End, and they are gonna credit the full retail value against your bill. So one of my scouts, she's already got $1,800 in credit card sales in. Yeah, she's here today. She's crazy. And that's gonna come off my bill. So if I owe the council $10,000 minus those credit card sales, 18, whatever hers was, off of that bill. And then once if we reach a surplus, then they'll cut us a check. But it ends up being less money that we will owe at the end. And they're going to process that every 48 hours, so we should see it kind of in real time. Your question?
So, I haven't done any of the credit card stuff yet before, so we just go to the app, which I have, go to start the wagon sale, and we just type in the credit card and it's done.
It'll take a second, but if you are offline, it won't process.
Okay, but if
So
it's online,
if you've got cell signal or you've got Wi-Fi, it'll be done. Yeah. It'll give them an authorization right there. They can sign it. You can email them a receipt or text them a receipt.